Well, Turkish authorities have launched a massive manhunt for the suspect in the attack. The Turkish government has ordered a temporary media blackout in the wake of the attack, citing security and public order concerns.
A manhunt for the terrorist is underway. Police launched operations. We hope the attacker will be captured soon.
Well, let's bring you more now on this developing story. I'm joined live from Istanbul by Natalie Kane. Natalie, just give us the latest information you have regarding this attack and the ongoing manhunt.
Well, we are getting more details from the police at this hour, such as the exact timings that the assailant entered the club. At 1:15, he approached the club, shot dead a police officer that was stationed at the entrance of the club, as well as one civilian, and then made his way inside where the carnage really did begin, spraying the crowd of revelers. Some reports saying as many as 700 people were in the club at the time. People in a joyous mood, celebrating the new year, bringing in 2017. He then left 6 minutes later at 1:21, able to blend in with the chaos and with the crowd that was trying to run out of the nightclub. Police have also located the taxi in which this assailant took to the location and are now scouring the taxi, investigating it for any potential fingerprints in the hopes that this assailant could be in the system and thereby they could identify him. Police also do believe that the assailant could have possibly done a recce at the site prior to this attack, meaning he could have actually been at this location prior to the early hours of this morning, in which case there may be some more CCTV footage of him. Search is still going on, as you've mentioned, for this assailant, but the Interior Minister, Süleyman Soylu, says that based on police information, there was only one attacker in this incident. This is in contrary to earlier reports in which 2, 3, some reports even saying there could have been upwards of 4 attackers. Authorities now saying there was one attacker in this nightclub shooting. And yes, the latest casualty figures, 39 were killed, 15 were said to have been foreigners. We're still waiting on the identity of their nationalities as bodies are being identified, as well as 69 injured, 4 of those in critical condition.
It's really quite shocking to imagine that in just 6 minutes, one assailant managed to kill 39 people, and as you mentioned, many also injured. What is the word coming from hospitals regarding those that were wounded in the attack?
Well, obviously, the wounded were quickly transported to local hospitals in the area. Family members and friends have been gathering at those hospitals all throughout the morning, as well as police officers trying to extract as much information as they can from the wounded and those on scene, as well. Others on scene that were not wounded were also bused to the local main police station here in Istanbul, where their statements have been taken, again, in order to collect as much information as possible. But we are hearing some stories from the witnesses in the hospitals, those diving under tables, under chairs, running into bathrooms, locking themselves into stalls, even some jumping into the Bosphorus Strait in freezing temperatures, just trying to save their lives during this incredibly panicked 6 minutes that undoubtedly will have changed their lives forever.
Indeed. And of course, Natalie, sadly, Istanbul is no stranger to these kinds of attacks. And of course, as a result, there's been extra security over the past couple of months. I imagine many people in Istanbul are asking how such an attack could still happen.
It's a really good question, and yes, that is certainly one that has been being asked. 25,000 police were said to have been stationed across the city of Istanbul alone last night to try and stop any possible terrorist attacks. As you mentioned, we're certainly no stranger to these horrific attacks in this city. However, this attack was still able to occur. As I mentioned, the one police officer that was stationed at the Arena nightclub, which is one of the most popular nightclubs here in the city and frequented by, we could say, middle to upper-class Turks, as well as many foreigners, even celebrities and major sporting stars frequent this particular club. One police officer was stationed at that club who was killed, the first victim of this attack. So yes, lots of questions are being raised. The owner of the Reina nightclub did say that there was word from the U.S. intelligence of potential terrorist attacks on New Year's Eve, and so they did take precautionary measures in case of such an event. However, obviously fruitless in that regard. One interesting fact is that the idea of a Santa Claus suit. Now, there was word at the beginning that the assailant himself was wearing a Santa Claus suit, and then it changed into him entering the club with someone in a Santa Claus suit. Basically, that would, sort of diminish the potential threat of that particular individual. So maybe why he was able to get as close to the nightclub as he could. And again, he did change his clothes within the 6 minutes, which allowed him to blend in more with all those panicked revelers trying to leave the nightclub, and that is how he escaped. But of course, that is the big question. How was this able to occur with the intelligence that this country boasts and with all the security forces that were stationed across the city at that time? But again, more information will obviously make itself available as details emerge.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much, Natalie Kane, for that update live for us there in Istanbul on that horrific attack that's left 39 people dead.